Helter Skelter is often viewed as the Beatles' most controversial track. The real scandal surrounding the 1968 release stems not from its actual content, but from how it was later misused by Charles Manson. Originally appearing on the Beatles' self-titled double album, better known as the White Album, the song was co-written by Paul McCartney and John Lennon. Despite its infamously dark associations, McCartney has clarified over the years that the track was never intended to carry such sinister meaning. Instead, he said it was born from a desire to explore raw, chaotic rock energy. In his memoir The Lyrics, 1956 to the present, McCartney recalled being inspired by Pete Townshend's claim in the music press that The Who had just recorded the loudest, dirtiest, rockiest music ever. This provocation sparked McCartney to challenge his bandmates in the studio to push the boundaries of sound, aiming for sheer volume and aggressive intensity. He encouraged them to make the recording equipment's meters spike with noise, resulting in one of the most primal and intense tracks the group ever recorded. This marked a sharp turn from their earlier, more polished sound into the realm of heavy rock experimentation. The song's crashing guitars and frenzied drumming brought a new kind of explosive energy to the Beatles' repertoire, something they had not explored so overtly before. As for the title, McCartney explained that many American listeners misunderstood what a Helter Skelter actually was. Contrary to some assumptions that it referred to a roller coaster, he clarified that it's a British amusement park attraction, a tall, conical tower with a spiral slide wrapping around the outside. McCartney said that as children, he and the others often played on these rides. He further reflected on the symbolism of the Helter Skelter ride, noting how it represented the unpredictability of life, moments of joy followed by sudden drops into despair, an emotional roller coaster that mirrored the song's wild tone. McCartney also mentioned that both he and Lennon were avid fans of Lewis Carroll, and that some of the song's whimsical absurdities were loosely inspired by Carroll's writing, particularly the Mock Turtles song in Alice in Wonderland. However, the song's legacy would be permanently stained when Charles Manson appropriated it for his own twisted ideology. McCartney explained that the real darkness emerged about a year after the song's release, when Manson fixated on the lyrics and projected his own apocalyptic beliefs onto them. Manson became convinced that the Beatles were sending him coded messages, believing they were acting as the four horsemen of the apocalypse and predicting a violent racial war. According to McCartney, Manson's interpretations were deeply delusional and bore no connection to the band's actual intent. These misinterpretations laid the psychological groundwork for the gruesome murders committed by the Manson family in 1969. Manson, who led the cult-like group, orchestrated the killings of actress Sharon Tate, who was 8 months pregnant, and 4 others, including Abigail Folger, heiress to the Folgers' coffee fortune, on the night of August 8. 2 days later, Manson's followers murdered supermarket executive Lino LaBianca and his wife Rosemary. Additional victims included horse trainer Donald Shea and musician Gary Hinman, both killed in separate attacks. At the LaBianca crime scene, police discovered messages written in blood, including "Death to Pigs" and "Rise" smeared on the walls, and the phrase "Helter Skelter" scrawled across the refrigerator. Manson defended his actions by pointing to the Beatles song as inspiration. He insisted the music was delivering subliminal commands to youth, claiming that it was the song, not himself, that urged listeners to rise up and commit violence. He argued that he was merely interpreting the message embedded within the music, not the one responsible for creating it. Despite his insistence, Manson was convicted and sentenced to death, a sentence later commuted to life in prison. He remained incarcerated until his death in 2017 at the age of 83. Once an aspiring musician himself, Manson's name would forever be linked to one of the darkest misreadings of popular music in history.